Okay, good morning, good afternoon. We'll go with discussion on the hydraulic pumps. In the last class, we discussed about the hydraulic turbines, and today we'll discuss about the hydraulic pumps. And so, pump. What is a pump? Pump generally is defined as which is a mechanical device, that rotates or reciprocates. So it may rotate or reciprocates to move the fluid from one place to the another place. To move the fluid from one place to the another place. It converts the prime mover energy, that is mechanical energy, that is prime mover energy, that is rotational energy, which is converted to mechanical energy. Then mechanical energy is into hydraulic energy. Hydraulic energy, that is nothing but flow of fluid. So it converts the prime mover energy into mechanical energy, then mechanical energy into hydraulic energy. Now, why pumps are required? Why pumps are required? So usually, generally the pumps are required to send. I mean, to pump the liquid, from low pressure to the high pressure area, from low pressure to the high pressure area, and to increase the flow rate. To increase the flow rate, also we are going to use the pumps, and to move liquid from lower elevation to higher elevation. From it means this is called head from lower head to the higher head. So to increase the flow rate and to move the liquid from lower elevation to higher elevation, or to pump the liquid from low pressure to the high pressure, we need the pumps. Okay. So now the classification of pumps. How the classification of pump can be takes place here. So positive displacement pumps, and then rotodynamic pumps, of course other pumps. So these two are very important: positive displacement pumps and rotodynamic pumps. So in the positive displacement pump, once again we have a classification of reciprocating type and the rotary type. So in the reciprocating, we are going to study, as per your syllabus, only reciprocating type, and we can call it as reciprocating pump. And in the rotodynamic pumps, we are discussing about the centrifugal pump. As per your syllabus. Okay. And if you look at the first, we'll just go to discuss with the centrifugal pump. So in the centrifugal pump, the hydraulic machine, which converts by the action of centrifugal force, by the action of centrifugal force, which converts this, mechanical energy into hydraulic energy or pressure energy. Those those are called as centrifugal pumps. So the hydraulic machines that convert mechanical energy into pressure energy by means of a centrifugal force, acting on the fluid, are called as a centrifugal pumps. So centrifugal pumps works with the principle of centrifugal force acting on the fluid. So what are the main parts of a centrifugal pump? So main parts of the centrifugal pumps are impeller, casing, suction, and delivery pipes. These are the three important parts of a centrifugal pump. Now we'll discuss one by one. So what is the impeller? The rotating part of a centrifugal pump. This is called as impeller. The rotating part. This is one which rotates. So this is the rotating part is called as a impeller, and this is what we can call as casing. See here, casing. Okay. Second one is casing. Okay. This is what we can call as casing, which is covered. This impeller is covered by covering with the casing. So that you can avoid the splashing of water. And one was this suction head and the delivery pipe. Suction and then delivery. Suction and delivery pipes. So suction pipes and delivery pipes. Suction means which sucks the water into the impeller region, and then it delivers to the through delivery pipe. So the water sucked through this suction pipe and delivers to this delivery pipe. And here HS is nothing but suction head, and HT is nothing but delivery head. HSD is nothing but delivery heads. Okay. So this is the impeller, casing, suction pipe, and then delivery pipe. These are the four important parts which you can have in the components which you have in the centrifugal pump. Okay. So in the impeller, what does impeller does? So it is a rotating element, as we told, rotating element. The rotating part of a centrifugal pump is called as impeller. The impeller is a rotating solid disc which has the curved blades standing out vertically from the face of the disc. And the tips of the blades in the impeller are sometimes covered by another flat disc to give the shrouded blades. Of course, sometimes it is not evident. So sometimes they are going to cover this tip of the blade with a kind of small flat discs. That is called as we can give the shrouded blades on. Otherwise, the blade tips are left open, and the casing of the pump itself forms as a solid outer wall of the blade passages. Solid outer wall of the blade passages. Next, the advantage of this shrouded blade is that flow is prevented from leaking across the blade tips. So, why we provide these shrouded blades in the sense to avoid the leakage of the water from the blade tips. And the impeller is mounted on a shaft. The impeller is mounted on a shaft. If you look at this diagram, see this is the impeller. This is the hatchet line. Hatchet line portion, which is circular, is called as shaft, which is towards perpendicular to you. Towards perpendicular to you. So the impeller is mounted on a shaft. The impeller is mounted on a shaft. And as the impeller rotates, the fluid that is drawn into the blade passages at the impeller inlet is accelerated as it is forced radially outwards. In this way, static pressure of fluid is raised. Static pressure of the fluid is raised. See, as it rotates, the water is going to suck from this, and then the static pressure of water is going to be raised. Static pressure of the water is going to be. The main problem with the centrifugal pump is priming. Priming is the problem in this case of centrifugal pump. Nowadays, the centrifugal pumps are coming with a self-priming centrifugal pumps. Okay. So this is about the impeller, and we discuss about the casing. Casing, it is an airtight passage surrounding the impeller which converts the kinetic energy of water, leaving the impeller into pressure energy. Because this casing is provided in such a way that it's a kind of cylinder. See, if the water enters here and then it is supplying from through these blades. So here the pressure is the space is going to be reduced, and here as keep on increasing the pressure, space is increased. It means that creating higher pressure energy in this particular area, higher pressure energy in this particular area, so that the high pressure liquid will be delivered through this delivery pipe. And a kinetic energy of water leaving the impeller into pressure energy before the water leaves the casing and enters the delivery pipe. The three commonly used means what are the different types of casing we have? We have different three types of common casings. We have volute casing that surrounds the impeller is of spiral type, in which the flow of area of the flow increases gradually. Why? Because when it is increasing gradually means the pressure is at the beginning it is going to be high, and then slowly it is reduces. So the increase in area of flow that decreases the velocity of the flow, thus increasing the pressure. The increase in the area of flow decreases the velocity of the flow, thus increasing the pressure of the water. And then the efficiency of centrifugal pump having this casing is reduced because of the formation of eddies. Because increasing the area, it forms the eddies. It forms the eddies. Means swirl. Eddies is nothing but swirl kind of. You can call it as eddies. And if a circular chamber, vortex casing, this is a vortex casing. If a circular chamber is introduced between the casing and the impeller, between the casing and the impeller, we can see that the casing and the impeller, then the casing is known as vortex casing. Then the casing is known as vortex casing. This considerably reduces the loss of energy due to the formation of eddies. Even in this vortex casing is also there is a loss of energy. There is a loss of energy due to the formation of eddies. Efficiency of the pump is more than this efficiency of volute casing compared to which one we have discussed in the volute casing. It is comparatively better than the volute casing. Next, casing with guide blades. Casing with guide blades means these are the guide blades which are stationary in nature. So these surrounding this impeller, one more circle is there. So there it shows that this is the blades. These are the blades. So if you look at these are the blades. These are the stationary one. These are the stationary one. I'll show you. Okay. So if you look at here, these are the blades. These are the stationary blades which guides the water which is coming from the impeller through this particular casing. So in this type of casing, the impeller is shrouded by a series of guide blades. Means this is the impeller. It is shrouded by the series of guide blades which is mounted on the ring. Okay, which is called as diffuser as well. The guide vanes are designed in such a way that the water from the impeller enters the guide vanes without shock. Means it is curved shape. See here the water which is coming here, it is going to be enter into this guide vanes. So without shock it is going to enter, and the area of the guide vents, if you look at here, when increases, thus reducing the flow velocity. So here if you look at this, this is the area which is increased from here to here, from here to here. So it means that the velocity you are going to reduce it. When we are reducing the velocity, the pressure of fluid is going to be increased. So that the consequently increasing the pressure of water. So these are the three types of casings. And the last component or part in the centrifugal pump is suction pipe and the delivery pipe. So a pipe whose one end is connected to the inlet of the pump and other end is dipped into the water in a sump. In a sump is known as suction pipe. See here, if you look at this diagram, so this is the one end of the see, if you look at this impeller, this is the one end of the pipe. So it is connected to the sump. This is called a sump where the water is going to be stored, and this water is going to be sent. You're going to supply the water from low level to the high level, or you're going to supply from low pressure energy to high pressure energy. So this is the where the water is stored. That is called as a sump. From this is the other end called, which is connected to the sump, is called as a suction pipe. Okay, which is connected called as suction pipe. The other end is, which is the other end. See the suction pipe, and then a foot valves fitted at the lower end of the suction pipe opens only in the upward direction. A strainer, see here, if you look at this diagram, there is a strainer. So this is called footwall and strainer. This is called a footwall and strainer. Strainer is used to remove the debris which is coming from the sump. So the strainer is going to be placed at the entry of the suction pipe and as well as the footwall. So here the water removes the impurities, I mean debris, we can call it some soot and what you can dust particles and all those which are that can be removed from this strainer. And a strainer to remove debris from water, and it is also fitted at the lower end of the suction pipe. The pipe whose one end is connected to the outlet of the pump, and the other end delivers the water at a required height known as a delivery pipe. It means that here the other end of this particular pump, see this is the pump, the other end of this pump, the other end of pump is going to be connected to the delivery pipe. The other end of the pump is connected to, okay, so the other end of the pump is connected to this particular delivery pipe. Okay, so this is how we are going to define this particular suction pipe and then delivery pipe. Okay, right. So next we'll move to the working of centrifugal pump. Basically it consists of three stages. So first stage, as I told you, that centrifugal pump has a problem with the priming. Priming in the sense which you need to fill the suction pipe to the desired water. I mean, you need to maintain the suction head always. You need to maintain suction head always. So for that, priming is be done first initially in the case of centrifugal pump. So priming is nothing but filling the suction pipe and the entire casing with the water to develop the required suction head. It means that see, if you look at this diagram, so up to this level, the water is going to be filled. The water is going to be filled. So water is going to supply to this pump. We are going to pour the water in so that it can be maintained. Water level can be maintained up to this point. Then only we can get the sectional static pressure. We can get the static pressure over there. So then after developing the required suction head by the centrifugal force produced by the impeller. Developing the required suction head by the centrifugal force produced by the impeller. So producing the required discharge head. Next is discharging the water. Next is discharging the water. So by increasing the kinetic energy of water with the impeller, then converting this kinetic energy into pressure energy with the help of your casing. So casing helps the conversion of the kinetic energy into pressure energy. Impeller helps the increasing the kinetic energy of the water. Impeller helps the increasing the kinetic energy of water. So this kinetic energy is converted into a pressure energy by the help of casing. So initial process, as we discussed, initial process is priming is done. Priming is done for the centrifugal pumps. So the presence of footwall helps to retain the water in the pump when it is stopped. So in pumps, the movement of blade system moves the fluid, which is always in contact with the blade, thereby converting the mechanical energy of the blade system into kinetic energy. So here the centrifugal head imparted to the fluid by its rotation, which liquid reach to the higher level. So the increase in cross-sectional area of casing, why we need to increase in the cross-sectional area is the velocity of the flow will be reduces. So when the velocity of the flow reduces, then pressure can be increased. Pressure can be increased. So towards the delivery pipe helps it converts into the kinetic energy of water to a required pressure energy. So the increased cross-section area of the casing towards the delivery pipe helps to convert the kinetic energy of water into a required pressure energy. Next, we'll discuss about the before going to discuss about the centrifugal, I mean reciprocating pump.
rotation. Thus, if the speed of rotation of the impeller of the pump is sufficiently high, the pressure in the liquid surrounding the engine will be increased. When the delivery valve is opened, the liquid is made to flow outward radial direction, thereby leaving the vanes of the impeller in the outer circumference with high velocity and pressure. In the eye of the impeller, due to the centrifugal action, a partial vacuum is created. This causes the liquid from the sump, which is at atmospheric pressure, to rush through the suction pipe to the eye of the impeller. As the liquid flows through the rotating impeller, it receives energy from the waves, which results in an increase in both pressure and velocity energy. The shape of the casing is such that the leading liquid flows through a passage of gradually expanded area. This change in shape uniforms the kinetic energy of the fluid.
Now we'll discuss about the positive displacement pump. Okay. So in the positive displacement pumps, in the sense fluid is pushed whenever the pump runs. Fluid is going to be pushed whenever the pumps. So the principle of action is the actual displacement or pushing of a liquid by the piston. Here water is, I mean, liquid is going to be pushed by the piston. When piston, it's going to be piston. It's going to be happen by the piston. So these pumps are also called as static pumps, and the pumps operated under this principle are called as reciprocating pumps. Reciprocating pumps, and also they have screw pumps and ram plunger and gear kind of. So these are all called, as we discussed. We have two kinds of this. One is the reciprocating pump, and then gear pump, screw pump, and all those. So among those, we are going to have only one reciprocating pump, which we are going to discuss. And the volume of liquid delivered, the volume of liquid which is delivered is constant regardless of the pressure, and it is varied with only with the variation in the speed of the running motor. So here reciprocating components, if you look at here, the same kind of suction valve, and then this is called a piston arrangement which you have, piston cylinder arrangement which you have for pushing the liquid, for pushing the liquid from the suction area to the delivery area. Okay, so this is the suction pipe is connected to the sump. The suction pipe is connected to the pump, and then here there is a suction valve. There is a suction valve, and this is called as a delivery valve. Okay, so when the piston is at this particular point, the suction valve is closed, and when it is keep moving, and it is keep moving from left to right, from left to right, then the suction valve opens, and the water is plunged into this area. So once the water is plunged into this area, when it reaches this cylinder, when the piston is reached this particular cylinder area, I mean at the left side, then the suction valve will be closed, and then delivery valve will be open. Then the piston is going to be moved from this left to right, from the right to left, from the right to left. Then the water is pushed. The water is pushed upwards into the delivery pipe. This is how the working happens. And the components, as you told, there is a similar kind of suction and delivery pipe, and cylinder piston arrangement for pushing the fluid, and connecting rod and crank mechanism for movement of cylinder and piston. So how the cylinder and piston will move? By the crank and connecting rod mechanism. This is the connecting rod and crank. As it rotates, the piston is moves to and fro. And working, the suction stroke backward movement of the piston creates vacuum inside the cylinder, causing the water to come in. So here, as it is moves, I mean, as the from left side to the right side it moves, it creates a vacuum, so that whenever the suction valve opens, immediately the water will come into this region, and then it pushes forward, and discharges the fluid when the forward stroke is happened. When the forward stroke or movement of the piston moves from right to left side, the water is going to be discharged to the delivery pipe. And mainly here, this component's working is nothing but it's creating a vacuum here, and then suction of this water into this area, and then pushing by the reciprocating action of the piston, by the reciprocating action of the piston. And this head is called as a suction head, and this head is called as a delivery head. This from here, from the center line of this to the delivery line, this is called delivery line. And this the height is called as delivery head, and this is the static head, suction head, sorry, suction head. And what is the priming and cavitation? What is the priming and cavitation? Priming is the process of filling up the suction pipe. Priming is the process of filling up the suction pipe. In the case of centrifugal pump, priming is the first process which you need to do, right? So priming is the process of filling up the suction pipe, the impeller casing, and the delivery pipe up to the valve, with the fluid to be pumped. Up to the valve, we need to complete the liquid up to that. So once you get the static, once you get the static pressure, then immediately you can open the delivery valve. So up to the delivery valve, so you need to fill the suction pipe and the impeller casing and the delivery pipe up to the valve. You need to fill the water. That is what you can call as priming. Filling the liquid. So then it is pumped, taking out all air, because you need to remove the air from that particular area. Means suction area, casing area, and as up to the delivery valve area. So before starting the pump, so if air present, it develops very low pressure head. If the air present in that particular area, it develops the very low pressure head. That's why we need to remove the air from that particular area. So how to remove the area? That is nothing but it is a process of priming. It is nothing but called as a priming process. In that, you need to fill the water in the suction head, in the casing area, and up to the delivery valve. We need to fill with the water so that we can remove the air from that area. Why we need to remove the area? Because it develops the very low pressure head, and which is not sufficient to suck the fluid from the sump area. Okay, so which is not enough for the suction of the fluid, disrupting the function of the pump. Next, what is the cavitation? Cavitation, on the other hand, it is the forming of bubbles because of the pressure difference. The bubble will form. So it is the forming of bubbles in the suction pipe when the negative pressure develops. When the negative pressure is developed at the eye of the impeller is lower than the saturation pressure of the fluid. When the pressure is at the eye of the impeller lower than the saturation pressure, then it develops the negative pressure. So because of the negative pressure, there is a pitting action takes place. Pitting action takes place on the surface of the pipes, So here the saturation of the fluid to be pumped, causing to boil, and then bursting. Then bursting of these bubbles in the veins where the pressure is higher. So cavitation causes the noise, vibration, and damages to the components of the pump. So cavitation is nothing but forming of bubbles in the suction pipe when the negative pressure is developed, and these bubbles will go and enter into this particular veins, and where the pressure is high, there is going to be burst. Because of bursting action. So there is a pitting takes place in this particular surface of the blades. And the basic difference is the definition of the two processes. For further comparison, we can say that priming is done before the motor is going to be started. So priming is done before the motor is started. That is for submerged pump, it is not needed, as the inside pump up is always filled with the liquid. So submerged pumps is not required. So which is placed outside the sump area, then we require the priming. And on the other hand, to prevent the cavitation, measures are taken while manufacturing. Means the shape of the impeller should be such that while running, the pump pressure will never go below the saturation pressure. The pump pressure should not go below the saturation pressure of the liquid. So the effects of lack of priming are felt. The damages caused by the cavitation can be seen in this figure. See, so this is the impeller area where the high pressure and the low pressure creates this kind of pitting action, this kind of cavitation damage. So okay, so we'll go with one video.
Shear sensitive liquid. It is used for high pressure application and is also used for a variable viscosity application. Lastly, thank you very much for watching the positive displacement.
So here, as I told you that now the piston is at 0 degrees, and it is moving from. Say if it is moving from this left to right, that is 0 degrees to 180 degrees, it's completely it is creating the volume. So creating the vacuum here. So when creating the vacuum, there is a pressure difference here and then here. So because of the pressure difference between this area and this area, when you open suction valve, when you open the suction valve here, then the water is going to flows into this particular region. Water is going to be flows into this particular region. Here it starts flowing. How it is flowing in the sense because of the pressure difference. Because of the pressure difference, as the pressure difference is there, that the water is entering into this area, and then it's completely this piston has moved to the right side, so that the volume of the water is going to be increased. Volume of the water is going to be increased. So once it reaches the 180, so then it is going to be stop the suction valve, section of the water. So now the piston moves from right to the left, so that thereby increasing the pressure of the water, thereby increasing the pressure of water, because we are reducing the volume of this, reducing the volume of this. So by there increasing the pressure of the water, then when it comes to this particular end left to the left position, the piston when it comes to the left position, then automatically delivery valves opens. The delivery valves opens and it's going to send the delivery, discharge the water to the delivery pipe, discharge the water to the delivery pipe. So here the movement of the piston takes place from here to here. The movement of the piston takes place here from 180 to then 270 degrees, from 180 degrees to 270 degrees, then 270, then to 360. So that thereby increasing the pressure of this. As it is increasing here, then delivery valves opens, and then it supplies the water to the delivery pipe. Supplies the water to the delivery pipe. So this is the pressure, increasing the pressure. Increasing the pressure of the fluid is by the action of piston movement. By the action of piston movement. So that's why it is the reciprocating action of the piston movement is happening. So that's why it is kinds of reciprocating pump. Reciprocating pump. Okay. So with this, I'm going to stop.